Former Vice President Mike Pence has officially suspended his campaign for President of the United States. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today it is time that we talk about the 2024 Republican presidential primary. Because everyone, we got some breaking news. Former Vice President Mike Pence just announced that he will be suspending his presidential campaign. Yep, it is official. What could very well be the biggest dropout so far. The former vice president, governor, and congressman, well, he has officially dropped out after what was arguably one of the biggest political downfalls of the past 5 years. For going from the former vice president and possible successor to the Trump era to, well, dropping out before even Iowa. That's a pretty big collapse. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $1 a month, you could join Real American. This is the best way to support the daily content that we all know and love. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. Alright, everybody, so like the title says, like I just said, Mike Pence has officially dropped out. Again, I never thought in a million years Mike Pence would be the first guy to drop out. Of the big candidates, I know Perry Johnson, Will Hurd, he dropped out. I understand that, but let's be real. Mike Pence is a pretty big name. He's a former vice president, for crying out loud, and well, he just dropped out of the presidential election. He was pulling to like 2 to 3%. There was big questions if he could even make the debate, and they must have realized, yeah, this is over. It's pack it up, give it up. We're not going to win this one. So let's get into it. Former Vice President Mike Pence announced on Saturday that he was suspending his presidential campaign in a speech before the Republican Jewish Coalition Conference. Kind of a very odd place to make this announcement. You know, it was in Las Vegas, so it wasn't a critical state for the primary, but it's like, you would have thought we would have heard something about this. It just kind of came out of the blue that, oh yeah, I'm dropping out. Not many people are expecting this. Like, everybody kind of knew that his campaign was done, but it's like, we thought he was going to last till Iowa, then drop out. He didn't even make it to Iowa. The Bible tells us that there's a time for every purpose under heaven. Traveling across the country over the past 6 months, I came here to say it's become clear to me that this is not my time. So after much prayer and deliberation, I decided to suspend my campaign for president effective today, Pence said to audible gasp in the audience gathered at the Venetian Resort in Las Vegas Strip. So yeah, he announced this in Las Vegas at the Jewish Coalition Conference. Nobody thought this was happening. Like, we knew his campaign was definitely struggling. He was probably not making the next debate. That's how bad it was getting. But people still thought, he's done, but he's going to last till probably Iowa? Not even to that. We're not even in November, and he's already dropped out. Attendees gave Pence a standing ovation. One person yelled, "Thank you, Mike." At the conclusion of his speech, Pence invited his wife, Karen, on stage. "We thank God for his amazing grace. He gave us the courage to step forward so many years ago, and the wisdom to step aside," Pence said. "My fellow Republicans, thank you for your kindness, your support, and your prayers over the many years. As we go home to Indiana, let me assure you that we leave here with optimism and faith. We don't know what the future holds, but we know who holds the future. And with faith in him and boundless confidence in all of you, we know the best days for America and our most cherished ally, Israel, are yet to come." So he probably did this because the whole evangelical stuff, the Jewish stuff, that's probably why he did it here. This is a very symbolic event for evangelicals. So, I mean, it is what it is, but it's still just stunning to think that this guy was the former vice president from 3 years ago. We're not talking about, Joe Biden when he was a VP 10 years ago or whatever. We're talking about just 3 years ago. And everybody thought after Trump, before what happened on January 6th, he was going to be the future nominee. Well, that's gone down the freaking toilet. That's an understatement. There was no hint of Pence dropping out in the prepared remarks his aides distributed yesterday to reporters. And RJC officials said they had no indication Pence was about to make the announcement. It was, according to Fried Zeidman, a major GOP donor in attendance, a total shock. The crowd, Zeidman noted, treated him with all the respect he deserves. What a menschik. So, I'll give Pence that. He understood, listen, I disagree with Trump or whatever, but I'm not going to beat him. At this point in time, there's no realistic path. Why should I burn even more money? I'll give Pence that. He understood it was a tough battle, but at this point in time, it's over. When the news came out that his campaign was probably not going to make the debate, it was over. Pence has struggled to raise money and gain traction in the polls as he built a campaign on religious conservative values and a continued break with Donald Trump over the events on January 6th. Again, just because he didn't overturn the stuff on January 6th, that's not why people are mad. People are just mad at Pence because he lied. He told, a bunch of people, we're going to take a stand on January 6th. We're going to fight like hell. And all this other stuff. We're going to take it back to the states. Then suddenly it's, I can't do it. I have no power as vice president. If he would have said right after the election, that he said, look, I don't believe I have the power to overturn the election, whatever. Fine. But he waited till the last millisecond after hyping up for months that we're taking a stand. That's what made people pissed off about it. He had only $1.2 million in cash on hand as of the end of last month, roughly equal to what he'd been spending on a monthly basis over the previous quarter, according to a recent filing with the FEC. And while he met with the RNC's polling criteria for an invitation to the November 8th primary debate, he had yet to meet the 70,000 individual donor threshold and only had another 9 days to do so. That's when it was over. When you can't even get that, Doug Burgum is going to qualify for the debate, but Mike Pence can't? That's not a good look, and that's what I think really did it for him. But, hey, it's still stunning to think that this guy's fall from grace has been unbelievable. Pence's announcement came as all the major candidates, including Trump, gathered for the 3-day conference. DeSantis, who immediately followed Pence, did not acknowledge the announcement while on stage, but did so in a statement after the fact. Nikki Haley, whose campaign has feuded with Pence's in the past, took a few moments to praise the former VP ahead of her remarks. I'll give Haley that for saying, praising Mike Pence for being a man of faith and a good man of service, but I'm not a big fan of what, I guess, DeSantis to even acknowledge it. It's like, you're right after. Why did you just pretend it didn't happen? He's been a good man of faith. He's been a good man of service, blah, blah, blah. Bunch of generic stuff, Haley said. Pence had largely focused his campaign on Iowa, a state rich with the religious voters that he had hoped to connect with. His advisors insisted as early as last week that he would remain in the campaign until Iowa, and were said to be putting together an Iowa trip for the coming week. But the evangelical Pence struggled to gain traction, trailing far behind Trump and other rivals. They must have got some internals. They realized we're not even in top 5 in Iowa, which, like this article says, should be Pence's strongest state. Very religious, very conservative, very evangelical. the fact that Pence is not even in 5th place in Iowa, that must have been the indication, yeah, it's over. Because for a while, he was in 3rd, 4th place. Not the best, but he was still competing in Iowa for at least 2nd. But the past, 2 or 3 months, he has cratered. Because he doesn't understand the evangelicals of today, they're not the same ones as 20 years ago. And that's factual. Pence always had a tough road. The former VP was looking to appeal to the non-Trump aligned voters who liked the stance he took on January 6th. You're delusional. You're absolutely freaking delusional. If you would have said this 2 months before January 6th, I'm not going to kick the electors back to the states, you wouldn't have had a problem, I don't think. At least as big as you did. But what you did for waiting till the last second after saying for weeks, we're taking a stand, which, by the way, he did. Don't let these fools lie to you. Look it up. Mike Pence was back in the Ted Cruz plan on January 4th. It's what changed? But he was also tied to Trump's White House in which he served. Pro-Trump voters had little interest in getting behind him, and many of those opposed to the former VP, a former president, never regarded him as part of their camp either. We always knew this would be an uphill battle, but I have no regrets. Pence, your political career is dead. It's not like DeSantis where, give it 10 years and maybe he could make a magical comeback. Mike Pence, he's 70 or 64, whatever. By the time he makes a quote-unquote comeback, he's going to be much older, and I don't know how much his opinion has changed from people. This was his best shot at running for president, even though it was a 0.01%. It was still a possibility. But now it's over. And the question is this. How much does this affect anything? Nothing. It changes absolutely nothing. He was pulling so badly. This may not even affect who takes second. That's how little support he had even in Iowa. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Thank you so much. Godspeed to all of you.